I'm glad I went to
doing for
Howard.
me, and how much of this am I doing for them?
Yeah, I evaluate that on a daily now.
Okay.
So that was a hard
You've
lesson.
had a change of heart and change of perspective then.
Yeah, I've had to pivot a couple times.
Your water.
I've had to pivot a couple
I was like, where's the cord? I was like, oh, okay, I got you. Appreciate you.
But yeah, so after I graduated, I went to work for this company, 1 Month Massive, which is right down the road.
Yes,
Right across
they
the
are.
north here. Not anymore. They don't exist anymore. But when I was working there, it was interesting.
When did One Love stop existing? You mind if I put this on your jean jacket for you? Okay.
Soon after I left, because they kind of just dissolved into.
Were they not ran well as a company?
Not ran well as a company.
Okay, all right, cool. That's very simple, straight to the point.
The income structure wasn't there, so people were working for free. I was one of the only people that was getting paid to do work.
Oh God, you fighting for your life.
Yeah, it was
Did
scrappy.
you have to fight for that, or did you make sure to negotiate that?
I had a contract,
Okay.
and once my contract was over, I was like, bitch, I'm out.
Yeah, it's been a good run, I guess.
It was like six months, or
6
9
months.
months. 9 months I was there. It was less than a year.
Okay. Do you think you learned anything beneficial while you were there?
Oh yeah, I learned how to learn a lot of tools. I met a lot of musicians.
Okay. Did you make any relationships?
Social media.
Okay.
I did a lot of social media marketing. That was my job.
Really?
Vending. I did selling shirts, all sorts of shit. But yeah, it was a great experience. I just, it was a small business, and with small business comes like big business problems. They didn't have infrastructure, so I had to like go in and set up a Slack. I was like, hey, how are we doing communications? They didn't have operations, so I was like, hey, like, why don't you set up like a Trello or something so that you know what each other does and you don't have to be yeah, it was a lot of little problems.
Upsetting story.
It was a lot of problems,
Okay.
but you know, it was a good time.
Okay. I love how you land. No, let's get past that part though.
At the time, I was going through it. I was pretty depressed. I had gotten caught in Virginia, as from where I grew up, like middle school up. I had some bud in my car when I was driving home.
Yeah, I'm a position this higher. I want to get your locks in the shot because your locks look nice. No.
I can
We
scoot back.
got the right stuff. Your locks.
scoot back.
Your locks look too nice. Nah, no scoot for the locks.
I could take them down.
You said you could take them down?
Yeah. Would you rather that?
No, they look good.
It's not.
No negotiating those.
But yeah, what was I doing? I was depressed. I was, and I still struggle with depression on and off. But I found that when I'm doing, like, when I'm putting hard work in for myself, I feel like it's more valuable and more worthwhile than doing it for someone else and getting underpaid for it. So that's kind of been my perspective moving forward.
Were you getting, I feel like you, in your story, I hear a lot of, I did a really good job of making sure mama was going to get her coin.
Not necessarily. I've never had money.
Well, not money, but get your
but
just dues.
I get by. I literally get by, but I'm kind of tired of just getting by. I need to like stack some capital.
Is there anything wrong with getting by?
No. If it makes you happy. I just, I want a certain like level of lifestyle, or like, you know, I don't know. I like nice things.
We all like nice things.
Not necessarily designer, but like I like being able to live a good life. And,
Yeah.
you know, go out to eat when I want, or go travel. You know, I want to be able to do those things. So
Or when I want to take a picnic, we could take a lavish picnic or a cheap picnic. It is still a nice picnic.
a picnic is a picnic.
Yeah, nothing like a
A
picnic.
getaway is a getaway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so after I left that gig, I was just bartending. I moved out to Southeast, which was my first apartment.
Was that before the pandemic?
That was before the pandemic.
Okay.
I was there like 2018, 2019, and then fall 2019 is when kind of shit popped off with the pandemic.
Did it?
Yeah, so I was working at Busboys when that happened. I was literally at the bar and had to tell people to like get off the bar because they did that bar mandate.
Yeah. It was my birthday that weekend.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that weekend it was my birthday.
remember.
I was at
I
was at a brunch date that day over at what's the name of that bar that's on The one where they do the dress festival thing in the summertime where all the guys wear the dresses.
On H Street.
Not on H Street. It's over by there's a school beside it. You got Giant, then when you go one block over and then another block over, you had the spot that used to be called Meridian Pint, and it's up there by the soccer field that everybody be playing soccer at.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
I never been there.
Really? That was my first
Closed
time.
now, right?
That was my. Is it closed? I think it's open, but that was my first time going there, like inside to eat food and chill, because my boy was bartending. He was like, "Yo, pull up for your birthday." I said, "Yeah, I am." So the world slowly closing. I was like, "I don't know how long we gonna be able to do this." It's like, "Oh, everybody gotta go." So what we did was we went to a bar that happened to be open on Georgia Avenue, which was up the street from where I used to live. It wasn't Midlands. It was something else.
Okay.
It was like all the way up right across the street from the Wendy's.
Okay.
And we went there. They still happened to be open, and they weren't really closing until like 5, 6. That's when they closed. So the mandate came in at like
It was like
1:30,
Yeah.
2 o'clock. And this one particular bar wasn't really closed until like 6, 6:30.
I got lucky.
Yeah, I was like, hey, man, a win is a win. For my birthday, a win is a win. Everybody was like, oh, we went home. And I was like, well, we didn't go home, but we didn't lose. So, yeah.
It was a weird day.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It was very unrealistic. I feel like as a human race, we needed to have that moment in the movies of, okay, when shit hits the fan, this is what it actually looks like.
In the movie. This is literally like we're living through this shit. It's live updates. Like,
We had no clue how Corona was getting around or who it is affecting or anything else like that.
I was being smart about it though, so while I was at Busboys, I decided like, okay, I can't do this forever. I'm fucking burning out. I'm just getting by.
Okay, so you were already like at your like
was at the
peak.
at the turning
Busboys was okay. Well, not Busboys, just work wise for yourself. Okay, cool.
And that was while I was working there.
You see how much better it looks? Look, the locks, the skin, the pop in. Look at that. See, I told you. I was like, nah, this is it right here. This is why I got this tall one just in case.
Thanks.
No, of course. But keep going. I'm listening.
Yes. So while I was working at Busboys, I started doing, I guess like understudy type work with Chris Pirate. That's where I hopped on a few projects with him. Yeah. I did like some random little stuff. No, ain't me. DuPont Underground show. I kind of would just assist in where I can, whether it be like, oh, how do I make this process more efficient for your projects, or like, let me just sit and watch how you do this mural type shit. But I got a couple shows off of that. I got this really good mural project that was like the biggest mural I've done to date.
Really? Where's it located?
It was in Southeast, actually, like right around the corner from where I used to live.
Okay. How did you go about securing that contract, or was it just an opportunity?
It was really just an opportunity off of a contract that he had, but he just needed additional artists to help. It was through Hoop Bus, if you are familiar. They kind of like travel around refurbishing basketball courts. So it was like a basketball court mural.
Okay.
That on its own is a really long story. It was a struggle, but it came out with a
struggle to make it happen, or struggle just
struggle to
overall?
get it done.
Okay. What problems did you guys run into with that?
There were socio-political problems.
Oh my God.
There were
Okay.
yeah, because it was a company that was coming from LA. They didn't know the area, and we're putting an MLK mural down on apparently a neighborhood whose rival neighborhood was MLK. So it was literally like, what the fuck are y'all doing?
Did they not do their research before?
They didn't, but Chris let them know. He's like, hey, this is going to be a problem, and they didn't listen. They were like, oh no, we have a set thing, because it was the weekend of it was like the celebration of the March on Washington that weekend.
I don't understand. I actually covered that event. I was like, I was working for 2 outlets in DC, which still owe me money, but that's not what this is about. Shout out to the bridge. But that weekend, all right, so what doesn't make sense is I don't like when people or organizations or institutions come from out of town and they tell us how it's gonna go, and it's like, we live here, we know the community, we know the beefs and the rivalry. We're not telling you that it's a bad idea. We're telling you the concept and where you're putting the concept is bad because of what's going down here.
Exactly. But like at the time we didn't know about like, you know, we were like third party hires. So we're sitting there working on the shit. We don't know any of this is going on.
So you didn't,
and on top of that,
the
they
final
didn't have
concept. They didn't have supply. How are they paying you guys exactly? So
I was getting paid through Chris. Chris was getting paid through them, but like it was like they had their own other, you know, it was two. So they had their flat top
wait,
they were
you
doing.
said it was 2. What does that mean?
It was 2 black tops or 2 courts.
Okay.
We had like a half court. They had a whole court. Okay. So they were like focusing all of their supplies on that court. And I'm over here. It was like 3 artists that I'm working with.
What year was this?
This was before I left in Or no, this is after I left. I had come back. I had just moved. So it had to be like June 2020.
Okay. Oh, so this is like 2 years out from the pandemic. And this is when still in it.
But it was still soft. It was like
everything was a soft open. I think I just did an event over at Whitman Walker actually. That was like my coming back into things event where we did like a self-love and manifestation event. We like wrote words of affirmation for people to take and practice saying to themselves for like 2 months. And it was actually really successful.
Nice.
But
yeah, saying that to say,
it
was a struggle. But even before that, so like when I was trying to transition out of Busboys, I got a mural at Busboys, like in my workspace. So I was basically just like clocking in, working on this mural on the wall, and then like clocking out and leaving. And it was like, yo, this is ideal. Like, you know, I don't want to be doing this server bartender shit anymore. I want to be making this art. And it was good money.
Like, yeah, it's because I was gonna say if you are.
It was like 15 an hour on top of my like. I was still working, so like I would literally like get off my shift and then clock in under this hourly. I don't remember how much I got paid total for that one, but it was good. I was like, yeah, I can do this. And then I got that one with Chris. But yeah, I was just kind of trying to make better moves for stuff that I wanted to do. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, but the important part was being around people that would encourage me to want to do these things or like get out of my head with it and actually put it into actions.
So when you went from the business market, because that's basically what you were, business and marketing, to artistry, you created a better environment for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if we're going to do this, make sure I have the right people, make sure no one's talking to me like an idiot. And like, make sure people are like supporting my ideas genuinely, not just, hey, can this make money? Because sometimes you have ideas that it's just like, look, I need to do the thing because it makes me feel good before the next project. So what skill sets did you take with you from the business end, from all the work you did with those other companies to this end?
Pretty much everything. I mean, like all of the skills I learned in school and like an application for that social media marketing gig. It was I use all of it. I like being able to represent myself in a setting, in a professional setting. I got that in school. I was able to, you know, I can talk, even though I'm a complete introvert.
Really?
My social battery dwindles so fast.
You're like, oh, is that my battery? Oh, are we on dead? Oh, no.
I get real quiet eventually, but I will listen and I will give really good feedback.
Yeah.
And I'm there. So yeah, like I'm a business person, even though I don't prefer to be. Okay. It's like a skill that I've developed because I went to school.
So this is what I've realized from running my own business, right? I'm not a business person, but like I'm very concise, and when need be, I know how to be cutthroat. That comes from running Velvet and all the stuff I have to do. Cause like
I was just talking about Velvet. It was a time.
It was a rare time, and I think what makes losing Velvet for me sad was that was the only place I could technically create opportunities for other folks, whether it be DJs, whether it be artists in the event spaces in DC that you don't really find a lot of anymore. There's new event spaces, but I could see the politics. I could see certain rooms are too big, certain rooms are too small. And also the consistent energy that you need to build momentum to go on to other things.
True.
I feel like that's lacking right now. Either you're really big or you're trying to figure out how to do it right now, but there's not enough community and consistent places to build there.
Yeah, that's what I found with DC in specific. It's not like that everywhere.
Yeah.
Some of the barriers of entry are like, focused on the bigger artists, and it's hard to kind of break through that wall. But that's kind of why I took the approach I did with like kind of trying to understudy or like, break through to somebody who knew what they were doing. But
did you ever have a mentor when it came to the art side of things, or were you already naturally an artist?
I've never really had I mean, Chris is probably the closest I got to mentor, even though it was kind of like a mutual exchange. I'm self-taught.
Okay.
I'm self-taught all the way. I've been doing, I taught myself like Photoshop before I got to school. So I would do like album covers for people, commissions, flyers.
I feel like when you use the word art, your definition of art and how you see what art is much bigger than how I think of art.
Yeah.
Like when you define art, what would you define it as?
Visual expression. It can be for any application. Definitely visual expression though, and that can be a very wide. That's a wide range of things.
It is.
I would definitely categorize myself as like a multidisciplinary artist. I can practice many mediums from physical to digital.
Have you always been a quick learner or quick at the uptake of stuff?
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, it takes time. Like I've been doing digital art since middle school.
What? Middle school?
Listen, I was an internet kid. I used to be up on like Guy Online drawing people's like avatars and shit.
Really?
I was an anime head, so yeah, like I was inspired by
What's your
anime.
favorite anime? Yu Yu Hakusho on this side.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got One Piece
I haven't finished
spot
it,
right here.
but it's good.
Okay.
I would say like, oh, that's such a loaded question. I really
favorite anime?
I really enjoyed Hunter x Hunter.
Oh,
when I
okay,
watched
so
it
you
the
don't
first
say the
time.
X.
You know. I really enjoyed Hunter x Hunter, but yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I've watched so much over like such a long period of time.
And for me, I read mangas and watch anime. So like it's just like huge.
There's
like
this one I really enjoyed, and it's kind of pushing the bounds of like what the like 3D CG rendering has been doing lately.
Yeah.
It's called Hoseki no Kuni, or Land of the Lustrous. It's about these people who are like gem-based beings. Kind of think like Steven Universe. Like they're kind of just like gems that are projections, but these people are literally made of like stone.
Okay.
And they kind of have a soul. Like they're just
kind of sort of
operating. Yeah. But they have this master, and like the master doesn't even know, like he doesn't have the answers for them. Like there's this one character in specific that's just really more adventurous than the others. Like they all have assignments or like jobs, but they don't seem to be good at anything. They break easily. Like they're always having to get repairs.
Oh, this sounds risky. Yeah.
And it's kind of like a self learning journey, because they just start learning they want the truth. Like they're seeking answers and nobody else is, so it's like they're just pushing against shit, and it turns out crazy. You should definitely watch it and read it.
What platform is it on?
It's not on platforms.
Okay, cool. That's all you gotta say. No, that's all you gotta say. That's all you gotta say. You send it to me later. That's all you gotta say.
Actually, Amazon.
Okay.
You can watch it on Amazon.
Okay.
But it only has the first season. There's more in manga, so you would have to go find it online or in
I got like 5
in
websites.
physical.
Yeah, that's fine.
So yeah, Hoseki no Kuni, Land of the Lustrous, highly recommended. But yeah, so
The Breaker. You should read The Breaker. You got The Breaker. You got The Breaker New Wave, and they got like a third comic. It's like a story that's been going on from like 2008, 2009 to present. It's like one of those like really long stories to tell a story that in the manga only lasts like 3, maybe 4 years, but like it's amazing. It's probably one of the best mangas I've ever read that I don't hear people talk about.
I haven't ever heard people talk about this one, which is crazy because the visuals are insane. The like antagonists are these.
Well, what country is it made by?
It's
'Cause
Japanese animation.
Okay, all right, because that does play into certain things. Like certain people like certain artists. When the artists come out,
Yeah. Actually, it might be a Korean creator. I don't know.
The beef be real when it comes to anime and the different cultures. I'm like, no, we're not supporting them.
People be gatekeeping, man.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, the antagonists are like these people that come from the sky, and they're like cloud people.
Cloud people.
Yeah.
Also hierarchies.
But the premise is literally like humans don't exist in this world. They were separated into all of the elements. So like soul, flesh, and bone. So there's like 3
Really?
separate. Yeah, it's very interesting. But yeah.
God. I'm listening to this now, and I'm like, wow, I might be reading this at work tonight. Okay.
You should read it. I was hooked. I was like, I need to know what happens.
When we're done, you definitely got to send that to me. But, all right, so I define art as presentation. Like, if you have a thought, do you know how to present it? And can people pick up 10% of what you're giving them?
Yeah.
That's what art is. That's why it's like, well, it's up to your interpretation. I'm like, all right, cool.
I'm into that. I mean, like, when I first started showing art, I would show my collage work. That was like some of my first... I had my first solo show at Chicken and Whiskey, but that was more of like a collection of my old stuff.
That's a great place to have your first show.
It was in the back bar.
In the back, yeah. Did they have a DJ?
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh.
It was the Chris Pirate joint, but it was called The Beat is Female. It was like a series of all femme presenting, I guess, artists.
Okay.
But yeah, it was my first solo show. I was so grateful. Like it was beautiful.
Where do you find the courage to go out on the ledge and like redefine yourself and how you'd like to be experienced when it comes to people?
I don't know. I just feel called to do certain things sometimes. I literally just had a concept come to mind yesterday, and I ran it by. Do you know BMO? Bryant Brown.
Sounds very familiar.
He's the homie. I met him back when I was at Howard. He's like my old head, high key. But we work together. We've been working together for years.
Is he someone I should do a sit down with in the
You
future?
should definitely sit down with Bryant.
Okay.
He had a podcast.
Really?
He has a show called Wake and Bake with BMO.
Oh, that's awesome.
He does it in the mornings, early in the mornings, and he just smokes down and talks about very controversial Black subjects.
Oh,
You should tune in.
Yeah.
I think you and Brian would set it off.
Okay.
But yeah, so I had an idea just yesterday come to mind. I'm like, oh my God, I need to write this down. But even beyond just writing it down, I was like, I need to set this into motion or it's just going to sit in my fucking notebook forever.
Who are your 3 favorite people? Like that you know in real life. Yeah. When they call, you feel yourself smile before hitting the answer
my
button.
God. I might have to think about that one.
Okay, we'll come back to that later.
Does it have to be like a person?
No.
My cat. His name's Oliver and Ollie Oxenfree.
Biggest fan? He's your biggest fan?
He's my biggest fan. He's my baby. I raised him. I used to hold him in my hand. And now, like, you know, he gets good hugs. We cuddle. It's cool. We exchange energy all the time. It's my little familiar.
And you guys both have private time from each other. It's like, okay, that's enough today.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty, like, I don't know. He's weird.
Okay.
But he's
I feel like I rarely hear cat people say that their pet is weird.
He's weird. He's very vocal. Like,
When he needs attention.
Yeah, he'll come up and be like stepping on you, like, yo.
Does he do a I'm baby? What's up? I'm baby. I'm making biscuits right now.
Yeah.
Wet.
Yeah.
I found my cat's making biscuits, and I was like, that's hilarious. That's what they call it. Yeah.
I call it fluffing.
Is that what you call it?
Fluffing, yeah. Yeah, so Ollie is one of my favorite creatures on this earth. Damn. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have many favorite people. I actually don't like people. Like,
You sound like him. You sound like me. I appreciate people. I'm an appreciation of people. There's nothing wrong with that, though. It's not personal.
you have to come back to me.
That's funny. It's really not personal.
I don't like people. I guess my sister would be one of them.
I guess she makes the cut.
My older sister Carmen, she always we laugh together a lot.
Okay.
Laughter is so important to me.
Why is laughter important to you?
Just finding the joy in a fucked up situation, or like being able to laugh at something kind of clears the air. It like lets out a lot of energy.
I practice bitching. I practice bitching.
Bitching?
Bitching. Complaining. Like, it's really fun. Like, I explained it to my partner the other day. I was like, you should practice bitching more. Like,
Yeah,
don't
just
keep it to
get
yourself.
it
Just
out.
get it out. And I was like, because at the end of the day, the things that make you uncomfortable or the things that are bothering you, you need to have a discussion with someone else about it, or at least just get it out in the open. Because when it's out in the open, now it's at the wall, and you're like, actually, that thing wasn't a big deal, but that other thing, that was a big deal. I'm going to remember that in the future. Like, it's really okay.
Yeah.
So, like, I come through, she knows exactly what voice I have when I'm going to start. And, like, as soon as I start, I go in, and I'm like, all right, so do you want to give me any breakdown of my thoughts? Because I was like, I know I've said a lot of things, and I'm really good on am I tripping?
Well, there's a difference between like trauma dumping and venting. Like,
Yeah.
like-
I don't trauma dump. I usually ask before I start, hey, do you have a second to talk? Like,
Yeah.
if not, though, please let me know. Like, I really have no issue with like keeping it to myself or getting it out in a different way.
yeah.
It's not, you and I date, we live together, you got to hear the thing. No, that's not cool.
I deal with a lot of clients as it's, well, okay, so going back to like my career journey, I'm self-taught tattoo artist. I started right before the pandemic started. I kind of just
I like a lot of
decided,
your art that you've done.
thank you.
Yeah,
I
see
appreciate that.
And like, I need to get other tattoos done. Because sometimes I see your art and I'm just like, I might have to pull up.
Come through. I'm actually going to be at a studio here soon.
In DC, based out of DC, or just visiting for like a couple of days to get some work done?
It might be starting like that, but depending on how it goes, I might be down here.
Okay, I'm listening. Tell me more.
So, yeah, I'm self-taught. I was out the fucking apartment. I was out of 520. I was out of this spot that doesn't even exist anymore on Adams Morgan. I was just bopping around for a while until I moved up to Baltimore. So,
Do you have a record of like working for places that no longer exist?
I wasn't working for them.
Okay, with?
I was working there, and the place sold. It had nothing to do with me.
I have a record.
But I actually don't have a record of working for many people. I've really worked for myself for a long time.
Okay, has independence been big in your life? Like the feeling of independence
Yeah.
and like
Autonomy is
that
so
look like?
important to me. I've been in a lot of situations of like codependency, and like when you're in it, it's like it feels comfortable, it feels safe. But I'm getting into the practice of like feeling more comfortable being uncomfortable, like pushing myself to do what I want to do for me instead of like relying on another person to have that safety net. Or saying that, not saying that's wrong.
Okay, slow down.
I still do it for like a lot of aspects of
when
my
you see
life.
me look up, I'm just thinking of like the next best thing to answer.
Okay.
That's all. That's not me judging. That's not me judging.
Yeah, but that is a very important thing to me.
That's a very important area also. But what you're about to say, it's kind of
like how I make decisions now.
Okay. Business wise, in terms of when you're filling people out, or
business,
just for
personal,
yourself. Okay.
anything.
Do you think it's important to run yourself like a business?
No.
Okay, tell me why.
I'm a very inherently intuitive being. I believe you should do things. You don't need a reason to do things. I'm kind of like a chaotic good person.
Are you a chaotic good?
Yeah,
Okay.
like
Tell me more about that. You gotta tell me more about that.
I'm very
the good chaos.
Listen,
Yeah.
I can be reactionary, but also like I like to sit and think about what I'm doing before I do it. But sometimes I think it too much. So it's like a mix between overthinking and not acting. or not acting and reacting too fast.
Yeah.
There has to be like some kind of sweet spot somewhere, but
chaos is necessary. A lot of great things come from chaos.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a feels person, a vibes person.
Okay.
I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But yeah,
If you wanted to eat your orange as we talk, you could, because that looked like that was like a great orange when you were peeling it.
yeah, I
And
just
would hate
ate.
to
It's
keep
like an
someone,
after
from their
food
meal.
thing.
You can just put it right there. It's fine. You don't got to
want
put it in the
some?
container. No, I'm fine. I actually made sure to eat half a burger before you pulled up because I was like, I don't want to be hungry in like the middle of the interview and stuff.
True.
All right. So I am so excited. I don't know why I'm so excited for you to be here. I think when it comes to social media, I don't get to experience people like how people think social media does it. Like, oh, you did this cool thing. That's 5 minutes of their day, guys. 5 minutes of their day,
You have
right?
no idea how many times I've been out and people will approach me like, "Hey, I follow you on Instagram," or like they'll call me by my Instagram name, and I'm like, "Oh, that's so interesting. Like, you think you know me?"
Is that ever uncomfortable or just
No.
It's an interesting observation.
It's only uncomfortable when they assume things about me.
Oh.
Like they think they know me. But I said that like being snarky, but
Yeah.
I really don't. I like that when people approach me because it's like, oh, I have visibility. You know,
Yeah.
people appreciate my
You
work.
do have visibility. I don't know what it is, but like no matter what, and I don't try to avoid anybody on IG. I actually have 3 rules when it comes to social media, especially IG, because IG to me is like the toxic ex that I'm still cool with. Because like that's where like a lot of the stuff is built off of when it comes to get home safe and everything. I don't scroll on IG, so like I would rather go into the search just to see what's there versus scrolling down the page because there's too many advertisements. When you go into the DMs, I actually, when it comes to like someone who's putting up what's going on in their day description, I got 4 swings in me and that's it. I do. I got 4 swings in me and that's it. And when it comes to a lot of the stuff that we do, when it comes to mental health, wellness, people I want to work with, folks I've thought about sitting down to interview or sometimes paying attention, I DM myself to the other profile, all the profiles that I want to keep track of. Because like IG is always spoon feeding you stuff and some of it is unnecessary. Some of it is nice, but most of it is unnecessary. And it's very easy to lose track of what was I trying to do again when I was on here.
Very easy.
Yeah.
That's why I really hated my job at One Love. I was like, yo, this is like not good for me.
Yeah.
Mentally.
Yeah, and that's
I felt like I had to be on 24/7. Like,
those are the boundaries that I've had when I took a social media hiatus between March to April, because like a lot of stuff was like going bad for me. You're fine. You can leave that. It's fine. We're not judging. You're good. a lot of stuff wasn't going right. My partner and I, we were dealing with a termite situation in the house. Yeah, it was terrible. Swarms and everything. Yeah, it's good now. It's good now because I wouldn't be bringing folks over here if it wasn't. All right. So we had that. We were dealing with what happened? My editor who was editing my videos stopped answering my calls.
unprompted?
We'll talk about that some other time.
Okay.
And then when it came to all the stuff that I wanted to do, started looking at the funds and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to say no to myself about some things. And it sucks when you got to say no to yourself, but it's like, nah, that's necessary. Like, you're supposed to work within. I'm very much the work that I do when it comes to myself or the mental health content. You got to enjoy what you're doing. And when you see it's not fun or you see it's heading in the wrong direction, you're going to have to just start letting some stuff go. And then I was like, I didn't want to create while under pressure from all those 3 things. Like trying to figure out, do I want to get a new editor or try to figure out how to do it myself? What's going on with this termite situation? We just moved in here. It's like all utilities included, all that other great stuff. But it's just like, you can't create, or you should be careful about creating content if you're not in at least an okay place. Because I don't want to get on camera and perform. I don't want to get on camera and be like, I'm doing well.
Some people like that shit.
They do.
And it's I don't know.
For them, that's fine.
I don't support it.
For me, I can't. Like, I did a PSA yesterday. I was like, look, my internet's been out for like 2 weeks. I can't edit or move the content from the SD cards so I could like do stuff on the computer. you guys aren't getting anything from me. I'm sorry. It's just like,
That's okay.
Yeah.
And like, I've been on multiple hiatuses for the past like couple years. I had a surgery for my wrist. I didn't even announce it. Well, I kind of did.
Okay.
I came up playing instruments my whole life.
What instrument?
And dancing.
Okay.
I played oboe for a long time.
What the hell is an oboe?
It's a symphonic wind instrument. It's like, it's hard to describe. It
Do you see my eyes? Whatever that thing is sounds amazing. I'm gonna have to like Google this stuff.
Please
after
Google
this.
an oboe. It's cool. You probably heard it before.
Okay.
It sounds like a violin played right. It's like kind of like high pitched.
Okay.
But played wrong, it kind of sounds like a duck.
Oh, so you have to really be very particular with how you execute.
It's a sensitive instrument.
Okay.
Yeah. But I played for a long time, so I used to like gig when I got out of school, and I had to stop because I have this cyst that started developing, and it limits my hand movement.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's painful, and I had got surgery to remove it. Shit came back. I'm so mad. And it's because I overuse, like, I do a lot with my hands and my wrists. Something lately I've been trying to focus on is, like, how do I make passive income? Because I can't work all the time. Like,
I actually thought about that also.
Yeah.
You see me when I was working Velvet. So I was the manager for Velvet.
Okay.
Right? And in life, when I did my first personality test from college, when it was like, what would you be like a good fit for it? They were like, security. And I said, I never want to work security. Then another profile was like, definitely security. I said, oh my God. Why is this my personality?
I mean,
right?
I guess you could interpret that in different ways, though. Like, security is like, you know, you're holding it down. And it doesn't have to be physical, I guess.
But when people see someone built like me,
they automatically
like, no, you put a suit on them and you send them out into the field. And I'm like, no, you've seen me talk down a lot of fights and a lot of like problems and diffuse many situations.
The best bouncers are talker. Like, they can talk it out. It's
and
not physical.
The issue was like right now I do a security cloud architecture.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically the folks who like secure the databases and everything else, like Apple Music and all that other stuff. That's the things that I do. And I was like, all right, okay, cool. That's gonna be my pivot coming out of Velvet.
It's still security.
Yeah, I was like, it's still security. It's still within the realms of like my personality. But wait, where was I going with this? You were talking about this. Oh, I didn't want to make money by using my body.
Yeah.
I didn't want like, oh, there's a lot of good paying jobs, you know, you might be, it's kind of risky, but you're strong.
Yeah,
no,
like,
that's a wrong assumption. Like, strong doesn't make you invincible. It doesn't mean that you can't get hurt. It doesn't mean you don't have to worry about the people that love you worrying about you at nighttime if you're going to come back the same way that you left the house. And when I got hit with that reality, especially after I had done pro tryouts for like 7 years, I was like, my body broke down and I could always build it back up. I'm in the gym right now going crazy, but I was like, outside of that, I need to be able to make money with something I enjoy that has nothing to do with my body. So I know exactly that feeling that you're talking about.
Yeah, it's very frustrating, especially when you're in it and you're like, okay, like, what the fuck do I do? So yeah, I kind of pivoted away from playing music for a long time, which really had an impact on my mental health because I've been playing music since I can remember, you know.
How did you stay positive?
I was depressed for a straight 2 years, like during the pandemic. There were a lot of other things going on too that like kind of triggered my slope. But
have you had a slope prior to that slope?
Not really. Like before that, I don't know. I was kind of numb, not gonna lie.
I had a conversation with someone about that 2 days ago.
Listen, my relationship with the thing that mental health has been long going. Like my mom is diagnosed delusional disorder. And that she got diagnosed in high school, but we've been experiencing like all these crazy symptoms for years, but didn't know that it was just mental disorder. So it's been interesting growing up and like, cause you know, I never went to therapy. Like, our family never went to therapy after that shit. We was just, my dad was just kind of like, hey, like, your mom's in a bad way, and like he would let us know how to like approach her, or like how to deal in a situation. But it's like you're just in this limbo state where you can't affirm what she's saying, and you can't deny it. So you kind of have to just like exist in this space with this, and it's like, okay.
You mind if I ask you questions about that?
Sure.
Shout out to Dad for like letting you guys know how to approach it and what would be the best ways. But do you think it could have been handled better?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, delusional disorder is kind of complex. It's a high functioning disorder. So like, if you look, she was going to work, she was doing everything normally, but like in her head, she's having all these thoughts that like don't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
And you only know if she's going through like a spike in it, or a fluctuation if she says something, or if she like does something that is like, what are you doing? Or like, that's questionable. So it's really only what she chose to feel open enough to express.
Yeah.
So I would, anytime, like post meds, anytime she says some like weird shit, or like, we would just check in with each other as a family. We'd be like, hey, like, has mom said anything weird? Has like, you heard anything lately? And we're like, okay, yeah, like she must be going through it. And most of the time it's like during stressful times, like holidays. If stuff's stressful at work, she'll have like an elevation in these like random thoughts. But it's not anything to the degree of like schizophrenia or like actual hallucinations. It's more so like, they put that there for a reason, and like I'm convinced that they want me to think that, or like, or like you want me to eat this certain thing, so I'm just gonna eat it anyways. Like,
yeah.
But it sounds trivial.
No,
but
that's a huge internal battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so most of her delusions were focused on my dad. There was like a focus of the delusion. He's one of them, and so it made it really hard for him to be productive in this space. He had to move out. It was like,
yeah,
my parents just separated. But he was also going through this other shit that that it was like surfacing.
Oh, he was going through things separately also.
Yeah, it was everything.
Okay.
People are people. I came down to the understanding that parents are people too. Like, they have their own mental health struggles. They aren't perfect. We might be we're in a better place mentally of understanding like how to deal with this shit than they are.
Yeah.
Because they've been doing it for so long. They're just now getting to a point where they're understanding their mental health, and they're like 40 something, 50 something.
I tell folks this quite often, especially the last 2 years. When it comes to parents and marriage, I hate when they do that. Just come out of nowhere. Spoilers.
The little fruit babies, they come out for the fruit.
Yeah. When it comes to parents have who they were before they had you, right? So being a parent, you technically start when you have kids. All right, I'm a parent, I have this kid, I have to have all these responsibilities. But as parents are growing and they're raising us as kids, they have this 10, 20, 30 years of themselves that they're battling and dealing with, of all these things that they've been taught, like, you don't need therapy because of what they did to us. Medicine's not good for you. You got to be careful.
Exactly.
You got to keep it to yourself. Don't reach out to other people, because if they judge you, they can split your home. You don't want those people coming in. And then for folks like you, it's like, that starts out as good and it's understandable, but then you see things are getting out of control, and it's like, guys, you don't think it's time for us to start asking other people for advice?
I don't even know what we did. Like, I mean, we relied on each other. Like, my siblings, we have a strong family unit. Like, it's not like we're estranged. Like, we really just reached inward toward each other. But I also like kind of isolated. Like, I have isolation tendencies because of it. I have like, depression, anxiety, all these things. Mostly like performance-based things. Like, I want to make sure I'm doing okay so that you don't have to worry about what I'm what's going on with me.
Doesn't that count as another stressor though?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I've been lately working on kind of leaning on my support system a little more.
How big is your support system? Because I know you don't like
It's
a lot
pretty
of
small.
so it's like, you know.
It's pretty small. But yeah, I have these isolation tendencies, so I'll go in between like talking every day to my friends to like not talking to them at all for a whole month, and then it's
So
like,
you're like a Jedi. Because that's how Jedis lived.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I'm live by the wind. I don't know. Like, yeah, and it's something I am working on, because staying in touch with people is like really important, especially because people go through things too, and you want to be able to have them feel comfortable opening up to you about the things they're going through.
As someone that has dealt with, I don't want to say slew, because it doesn't feel like a slew, but well, it's not a trial either. As someone that's dealt with that kind of environment when building a support system, have you ever sat down with them and say, hey man, I need you guys, but can I have you guys in this way because of my personality?
I've never done that.
Okay.
I rarely reach out to my friends as a unit, mostly because they're just scattered different in different communities, different environments, different places.
Yeah.
But
Does that ever work against you?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm saying, have you ever had an emergency and you called someone they couldn't pick up?
No.
Okay, then that's nice.
Yeah, tattoo has really helped me kind of. I didn't realize how much of a people sport and energy sport tattooing was when I entered the field. I was just kind of like, oh, people would rather spend money on tattoos than like art prints and paintings. So like that's kind of why I decided to start tattooing. But when I'm in it, I'm like, oh, this is like important work. Like people go to tattoo artists for purposeful healing work.
Yeah.
Yeah, you learn a lot about a person by the way they take pain and how they reflect on it and how they like sit through it and the designs they choose and like, you know, whether you're putting intention into it or not. It's all really important. So yeah, I like to be really intentional about the designs I'm putting on people, especially if I'm doing a custom work.
Yeah.
And usually, like even before I do a tattoo, I'll usually do like a tarot reading with them, just to kind of see where they're at and synchronize a little bit with people, especially if I don't know them beforehand.
Does that clear the air for some things?
Yeah.
So them?
Yeah, it helps me be able to get to know them, get to know these people, these randos.
What kind of energy to put into the ink also?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have a pretty intense vetting process for like taking new clients.
What's your vetting process?
I have like an inquiry form. So like you have to read basically. Like if you're not finna sit there and read my rules, you're not finna get a tattoo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you put your request in. I reply to your request. We consult on the like whether or not I'm fucking with this design or not. I send them a booking link. They fill out a whole new form and they pick their date and time and then they show up and you get it done.
Okay. Cool.
But it's not that long of a vetting process. But like you'd be surprised how many people don't follow instructions, don't read.
Yeah.
They'll be like in my DMs like, oh, I want this and this tattoo. I'm like, okay, here's the link. Never fill out the link. So
get that
it's
tattoo.
whatever. Exactly. Like so now my approach is less so about money, even though it probably should be. Like, you know, I'm scrapping still, but like I definitely am a believer of like quality over quantity when it comes to tattooing, and I do quality work. I like having my clients leave and being like really satisfied with the work, and like, you know, they want it on their body for years to come.
Yeah, I don't regret not one of my tattoos at all.
That's good.
If anything, I've been surprised that the ink has still stayed well in my skin, because I'm bigger. So, you know, when you're a bigger person, your skin is stretched out. So it's like the probability, to me, what I've thought is the probability of you losing ink from your skin, especially being someone who's like worked out in the sun quite often, no shirt on, anything else. And like my tattoos are still clear and dark and vivid.
Nice.
And detailed.
You must have great artists too.
No, I don't remember them. I only remember one of the artists that did my tattoo who's someone who I actually had relationships with. The first two tattoos I got was in college. It was my junior and senior year, right before I got my first surgery for breaking my fifth metatarsal.
Dude, where'd you go to school?
Catholic University of America, right behind you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, that's my mom right there to right. Mama. But I mean, I don't, all tattoos that I've gotten, I've always like, I usually sit with a tattoo for 3 years before I get it.
Wow. Yeah. So you're like more on the intentional side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not everybody's like that. Some people come in, they're like, I don't know what I want. I'm like, okay, well, like, who are you? Like, what do you like? Like, I want to be able to give you something that means something, but not even necessarily. Like, I love doing flash tattoos. I'll have tattoos, but like usually when someone gets a flash tattoo, they automatically associate a meaning to it because like you were drawn towards it for a reason.
Yeah.
You know,
my fourth tattoo, which is my last tattoo that I got 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago, was actually the oldest tattoo and the first tattoo I had written out. And I got that too written, drawn. It was like two sharks chasing each other in a whirlpool around a flower. And I got that thing drawn in like 2008.
wow,
And I never got it until like 5 years ago.
nice.
Yeah, so that's heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's something about those ones you sit on, and it's more satisfying when you like have it on your skin, and you're like, yeah.
Especially when, I think for me, for that, I had to really wait for the right artist to come along and execute it. Because that's like a lot. Two sharks chasing each other in the infinity sign in a whirlpool.
I mean, it's not that much. Listen, I've gotten some crazy requests. That's a part of the job.
It is.
That's why, like, I was able to pivot to tattooing so fast because I've been making art like for years, and yeah, part of the tough part is being able to make designs on the fly, or like, you know, I have clients now that don't come in. I don't know what they're finna get. They just be like, hey, draw me this.
You also have
I just
really
need
good
like
work
a
ethic
couple
also,
hours,
though.
you know.
You have really, really good work ethic.
Not really.
You don't think so?
No, I don't
With the
think
way,
I have
with the way
good
that
work.
you're willing to like learn stuff, sit down, like the things you told me you've done.
But that's self-motivated. It's like,
Yeah, but
I only do
people-
what I want to do.
But you want to do the thing and you do it well. I don't have that motivation.
I'm proud
at
of
times.
being able to do stuff well. Like, I don't do stuff I'm bad at.
Well, at least that's awareness, though. You know you're not bad at it. I'm not motivated. That goes into the closet. Good try.
Yeah, I don't like existing in those realms where I'm like struggling over and over and over again.
You go
like,
towards your strength.
yeah, I play to my strengths for sure.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of strengths. Not gonna lie, I love art.
Do you have a self-care routine?
Yeah, mainly includes doing my hair.
You've gone through so many styles from what I've seen.
Yeah.
When it comes to your hair, I'd be like, wow, you be in your bag.
Yeah, I do my own hair. I've never had anyone up in my hair since I locked it.
My partner's the same way. She's exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that painting you see, that's her right there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's
Little
also
hummingbird
her right
wings.
there too. That's her with the
love
locks.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like the parent that's like, look, that's them right there. Yeah. I got more photos. It's coming.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. How's all right, tell me how that for you is self-care.
It's, I don't know. I like making myself feel good. You know, like a good wash day is everything. You'll sit there.
Walk me through your wash day.
Takes all fucking day. Like, you know, usually I'll put oil in my hair the night before or the day before, and I'll let it sit with a good castor, and I'll wash it out next day. I re-oil or like recondition my hair with usually oil, and then I'll dry it because this shit don't dry it on its own. I learned the hard way.
Your locks. You have an amazing relationship with it and a hell of a routine.
Thanks.
What inspired you to grow your locks naturally?
I mainly, so I was loose natural probably 3 or 4 years before I locked my hair. It was definitely a journey. Like I was perming my hair before that, and it would just always break. And I'm like, okay, I want to see how long I can grow my hair without it fucking breaking off. And probably the best way is locking my hair. So yeah, I noticed my hair routine before that, like when I was exploring different products and stuff, it would need a lot of products. I'm spending money on these products, money I don't really have to spend.
Yeah.
So it's high maintenance. My natural hair, my curls are like this. They're so itty bitty and coily. So I was like, let me lock up and see if that works for me. It would reduce the amount of money I spend on products because I really was only using water and oil, and shampoo, and that's it. And then also maintenance. I was like, I wouldn't have to do my hair every day. Maybe just like clean it up, put it up. But yeah, the reason I went semi-freeform was because I wanted thicker locks. I was like, I don't want little, I have little baby curls, but I wanted thicker locks. So it kind of took some thinking. I was like, I guess we'll try it. Mine are, I would say they're medium. Like I like my thickness, but I wanted them thicker. And
how do you find harmony in that? Are you about to take your locks down?
No.
Okay.
I'm not taking them down, but like
like
you
a lot of work
can
if you
kind
do
of
that.
see
No, I can see
like
it.
the general thickness. I thought about combining them. Well, I actually did combine some of the ones on the back recently, so they're like growing into one.
How long does that process take, or you just never know?
You can. The only way to actually combine them is like crocheting them together, like kind of deassembling them and reassembling them into one.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to do that until I get to my goal length, which is like about here, which I'm only about a year away.
How far? Oh, you're a year away.
From
How
my
far are
goal
they right now?
I've been growing them for 5 years, and I'm probably like here. Some of them are like at my goal length, but most of them are lower.
So when you get
like
to your goal length, do you just trim them and you're like, look, this is the line that we go, guys?
When I get to my goal length, I'm gonna kind of reevaluate what I want to do with my hair. I thought about like starting to dye. I wanna get a tattoo like on the back of my head and on my neck. So I'm probably gonna like do an undercut.
Is that a sensitive area?
Yeah.
But everyone absorbs pain differently and handles it, as you said. So
Yeah, it's less so about like the pain and more so about the look. Like I want the look. I'll go through the pain for the look.
yeah.
So yeah, I have goals. I have like visions for myself, but I'm gonna deal with it when I get there.
Okay. So what else goes into your self-care routine? Because like for me, I'm fascinated. I always think like, how do artists maintain a space of sanity for themselves? Because it's very easy to just get lost in art, and it's like that's where I find myself, and that's it.
Yeah, I definitely found that my environment impacts my mental health a lot, like more than I realized.
How so?
So like when I moved into this, like before I moved into this spot I'm in right now, I was living closer to like Patterson Park area in Baltimore. I was like living with my cat and my partner and his cat, and our cats would fight like 24/7.
Really?
So they're like screaming, in the middle of the night.
Did they ever get cool, or they still?
No,
scrap?
they never got cool. I had to rehome her. So like she lives in DC now with a friend. So it was like, yo, what the fuck? I gotta get out of here. So I moved out. I literally found a random place. Like it was like Instagram, actually, one of the good things that came out of Instagram. I followed this really cool jewelry artist, and she was like, hey, my girlfriend's looking for a roommate. Like it was like a last minute situation where the third roommate backed out of a lease. They were backed out of signing. So it was like the lease was ready to sign. I just kind of had to check out the place, see if I liked it, and hop on that shit.
Is this a group on Instagram?
No,
So just random people?
it was just a random person I followed. I don't even think she followed me back.
The
Like,
reason I asked is I just found out one of the folks that used to come to Velvet, he's homeless now. And I'm like, well, what you doing?
Like, I just found this out last night. Like, a DM, he told me about losing his dog. That was like an adorable dog I've pet and I used to play with all the time. So that was super sad. And then he was like, yeah, no, I'm homeless. But he's like, I'm good. I'm away from my partner, so it's better environment. And like, for me, when I hear that, I'm like, how can I help this person or point them in the right direction? And then like,
how do I put them in positions to like not be discriminated as someone who is recently homeless?
It's like a stigma, big stigma when it comes to like homelessness. Cause I was homeless, damn near living with my partner, because I was like, yo, I can't, like, I don't have a space. Like, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel cozy. I don't feel like I can create, you know? Yeah. So
that's what this is.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't, when it comes to the work that I do, this is heavy. Like, don't get me wrong. I love having the conversations and putting out a lot of educational stuff and letting people experience other people's lives so they can figure out maybe I do need to get help or what that looks like or recognize things. But like when I tell you the talks I have about like folks and suicide or folks and how bad depression gets and folks and like manic episodes, like a true manic episode that lasts for 3 years, as an ordinary person, I don't think that's healthy for ordinary people to hear that, like as someone that isn't in the field that I'm in when it comes to helping others and advocating.
Yeah.
So like creating this separates what I do with Get Home Safe and the community from the home itself.
I hear you.
So like I close the door and she's like, oh, it's over. And sometimes you need that.
That's hard though.
Yeah.
It's hard to separate like work from home life.
But we're lucky to have this space. Like I know wherever I move to, when and if we have kids, there should be 3 rooms to like just have a room to do the Get Home Safe stuff or just a separate room outside the house. But it's good to separate your work from the people you live with or have the space to create. Like when I'm in here, everyone knows, nah, he working. Even if you hear like some music or I'm reading manga, nah, he's taking a break because he's going back to work. Like I'll last night before you came, I was in here until 7:30 in the morning working on edits.
You working?
I be in it.
Busy.
You hit me up then? Just sorry, I was doing an interview. You came, sat down, someone called me, declined. I'm in the middle of the interview.
Juicy's booked it busy.
I don't know what to tell y'all.
Well, I appreciate being here.
No, I appreciate you saying
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so space is extremely important to me.
Yeah.
Having natural light is extremely important to me.
That's only that we wish we had more of natural
You
light.
have a window right here though. Like literally, it was like an alley house I was living in, and it wasn't getting any. I didn't have plants around me. Like I was like, yo.
I lived in a basement for 6 years with like one little window.
I can't do basement apartments anymore because of that reason.
But I have so much lush green outside. And you
can step right out.
Yeah, I can open the window now. Now the mosquitoes and the flies are a little bit less, so I can open the window if I want to feel like a nice warm breeze in my face with some sunlight. We got a beautiful backyard. I feel like Tyler the Creator with the way I'm talking about this right now. God. Like that's how it feels.
Yeah. Winning. We love a winning story.
Yeah, and wherever we move to, you got to make sure to just have those things because it's like. I like touching grass. I don't like being outside, but I want to be able to touch grass. Because when I'm outside, I was one of those, everything had a purpose. I'm outside to work hard and get it done, get in it. Because, like, I've laid in grass before, but, like, I think when I was a kid, I had too many run-ins with people in the playground that made me feel like, look, if I'm outside, I need to be out here with a purpose. That's, like, the best way to put it. I don't remember wanting to go to the park for fun.
You should practice leisure.
What's that?
Leisure?
I know what it is.
Get out, go to the beach, go out to the mountains, somewhere that you find to be a serene place. My place is the ocean. I will go to the beach, even if it's just a day trip. I will literally go and just float in the water.
I was in South Carolina, Virginia Beach. What's Virginia Beach? We had the Wyndham. Yeah, now I was at Virginia Beach for my sister's birthday 3 years ago. When I tell you the ocean terrifies me, because like I was like, oh, this is cool when it's daytime, but when it's night and the sky combines with the ocean.
Why would you be in there at night?
I wasn't in there at night. I was looking at it at night, and I said, "Oh, this is terrifying, fam."
Scary.
Yeah, I was like, imagine being back in the day before technology and everything else, and it's the middle of the night, stranded in the middle of the ocean, and everything is just dark.
But that's why people like made up gods and shit. Like they're like,
Yeah.
So visually stimulating.
Yeah.
But that's the world we live in. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful place.
It is.
Fear and beauty are very closely related.
Yeah.
And it's like you do have to take those things in. But for me, it was also the moment of realizing, as much as I admire the ocean, that is a terrifying concept when you think of how deep it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's things to discover about yourself. I would risk it all. Don't get me wrong. I may be terrified, but I'm gonna be the terrified person that jumps in probably.
Yeah.
Just off the personality.
I would say like one of my biggest takeaways from going this alternate route, like in life and or my career wise, I guess, like not working for the man.
Not working for me.
Not saying I won't work for the man eventually.
Money is
I want to go to grad school coming up,
Yeah.
so like I might make the leap and start working for folk,
Okay.
or at least try to get some contracts, you know. But I would say like don't operate off fear. Like don't let fear be your driving factor for why you're making decisions in your life, because you won't be rewarded for anything. Like, how are you gonna take risks? How are you gonna like weigh out what you want to do without like trying?
Yeah.
Even though, yeah, you might be scared. I practiced that when I was growing up by like, you know, working through anxiety, performance anxiety. I performed music. I used to dance.
Yeah.
Doing stuff like that is like it's a practice of like getting over your nerves. Like, you know, you're on stage working through your nerves, and then when you're done, you're like, oh my god, I did it.
Yeah.
I'm elated. Like
Yeah.
you feel good.
Fear is necessary.
Yeah.
And not only is it necessary, we're lucky to have fear. I think I've never been one of the you're happy because you were sad, but it's like it does make me recognize the value of the sadness that I've had and the joy that I've had in life. Like I already have a high appreciation. I may do a really good job of staying away from people, but I do have an appreciation for people. I think even I think I've been lucky to meet as many people as I've met up to this point who like I can care from them from a distance, and when I haven't seen them in like 7 years, they could pull up to my front step and I hug them and be like, it's so great to see you, and we could like do interviews like this. Like folks question me and they say, how do you have so many people on your podcast? And I'm like, I know a lot of people.
You just be knowing folk.
I know a lot of people. And I was like, and I'm also lucky to know a lot of good people. And for the people who aren't good that I know, I'm lucky to know them too. Like, you know, I'm not
There
gonna
are so
judge
many.
hard.
Do you know how many people there are in this world? Like everyone's special, and like the fact that you have any kind of valuable interaction with people is like a blessing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
bless.
Yeah. All right. So on that note, where can the people find you? This is your personal camera. I never once told you that. This is
Oh, it's okay.
your personal.
I've been kind of looking
Yeah,
up
I
every
just
so often.
I was like, she'll figure it out. It's a good angle. It's just the close up, the skin pop in. So it just, you know, yeah.
But yeah, you can find me on Instagram at OheyLil, and my tattoo page is OheyArt. I also have a website, oheyart.com. You can see all my work on there. I haven't updated in a little bit. It's coming. The update's coming.
Do you have any art that I could purchase to add to my wall?
Of course.
Okay.
I have a whole bunch of art.
Okay.
My shop isn't up right now, but I can send you some stuff.
Okay. Thank you. Looking forward to that.
Hell yeah.
What was I gonna say? As someone that has had so many layered experiences, especially when it comes to mental health, what advice would you give to someone who may be dealing with a situation in their family in relationship to mental health?
I would definitely say find time to like have time for yourself, or like find the headspace, find the like a happy place away from home, away from the bullshit, that you can kind of like meditate and figure out what you want to do for yourself. Or if you have like family members in the same situation, maybe like try to think of the best way to liberate yourself. Because at the end of the day, like, and especially if you're a grown ass adult, I'm not saying no one's there for you, because there are resources out here for like people struggling with mental health and family situations.
Everyone's busy.
But you have to be able to advocate for yourself to a certain degree. Like you have to be able to say, I'm struggling. You have to be able to say like, hey, where do I get help? at least, you know, to be able to help liberate yourself. Yeah, I have a sister right now that I'm like at fucking wit's end with, because she's in like a very toxic situation, and it's like, hey, you know, you can ask your family for money all you want, you can ask, like, and we'll give it to you, but this isn't gonna help you.
Yeah.
Like, you need to leave.
Yeah.
You need to leave. You need to leave. So there's only so much I can do for you as like a grown ass adult who doesn't live in the same state.
Yeah.
Help yourself.
My hands are tied.
Help yourself.
Help yourself. My
Yeah,
hands
just
are tied.
give yourself some attention, you know?
Yeah.
My me time was like learning how to skate. During right during the
We'll
pandemic.
talk about that next time.
Yeah.
I remember watching. I was like, oh, I don't want to do it, but yes.
That helped me so much with my mental health. I got back like active. Physical activity is really important for getting like the bad energy out, getting the blood flowing. Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do. Just maybe start a new hobby. I don't know.
There's this one lady on IG. She makes amazing content. Sometimes she's skating. Sometimes she's just speaking in the microphone. Sometimes we just chatting about her locks and like her chilling. And I like the direction I've seen Black women going in with the roller skate content, because I wasn't getting any of that until like the last 2 years. And like, I don't know what it is, because when I roller skate, I almost broke my ankle 3 times. So like roller skating's not for me. But watching it from a distance, I do get happy.
It's so happy. Yeah, like yeah.
When it comes to toxic relationships, also, I was at a cookout recently, and one of the folks there, he was talking about like his job that he was working. And the description, he was like, yeah, you know, we had this one coworker who would drink, and I would always like go and get him the bottle that he wanted and give him shots. And we were giving shots to the cook, and I was like, they're not going to get the orders done unless we give them shots in the back. And, you know, but I had to do this. And I was like, who told you had to do this? No, they had to do this because if we didn't do it, they weren't going to know. If they don't do their job, they get fired. That's how it works. You don't have to do this stuff. So like, when I hear people enabling other people, I don't have anything to add to the conversation, because like when I go out for leisure, I don't argue. I don't advocate. Great story.
You're turned off. You're like,
great story.
No, I'm not in it. My name's Bennett. And I'm not in it.
And I don't want to judge people too hard. Like when I see that, that's usually either a behavior they've picked up themselves, or something they've convinced themselves of, or they've seen people do it and they see that it works for them. So I have to do what they did because it works for them, and I can't go outside the box. And for me, it's like, I've always existed outside the box. And then there's just certain days I just want to chill in the box, and that's all.
Yeah, the people pleasing has to end.
Yeah.
Especially for the Black folk.
Yeah.
And the colored folk.
For me, it's just the making up of excuses of who belongs to. Like, I've done a lot of fucked up things in life. You feel what I'm saying? But I've also done a lot of good things. And for each one of those things, I'm really good at, okay, how much of this belongs to me and how much of this belongs to the other person. And, you know, I think that's how I've done a good job of just moving on from things instead of taking it personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta let it go. Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of Mental. I appreciate you guys for pulling up. There's no intro. See you guys later. Like, share, subscribe. Peace. See you later, homies. You did a great job. Have you ever done like interviews on camera and stuff like that?
I've done 2 before. I just did one recently with this girl that I worked that event with the big thing. Her name's AP. I did one with her, and then I did one with BMO, who I was talking about before, like years ago.
You're very well spoken.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
it's a skill that I've developed.
I could feel it out. Like, this is practice made perfect right here.
No, I didn't book today, but I feel like I got the context of like what you said it was going to be about, and I was like, okay, I could riff. Like, I can talk about that.
And then like this is, I think you asked me earlier why. What's the direction this is going in? So I work with so many people between like wellness and mental health and just the community itself, but like when I look at my content, I don't hear enough of the community's voice in my content. I hear a lot of professionalism and a lot of folks in the wellness space, but like, to me, the most important people are the everyday people. And don't get me wrong, I advocate for everyone you see me present, whether it's wellness, therapists when it comes to mental health, or the community. I advocate for each person, but if I don't see the community in my content, I take it personal. I take it very personal. I like look at the episodes and stuff, and I'm like, not feeling this. Like we're doing a good job, but it's like no one is coming here to get a better health commercial. They want to hear a real story. They want to understand like, hey, what's going on? Like,
I hear you.
Yeah, they want to be like, you know what? I did have a similar situation to that, and I'm glad someone spoke up. Maybe I need to pick up that phone and make the call, and we got to approach this differently.
Yeah.
Because it's like, happiness has a price.
Yeah.
And it's not always going to be easy, but like I think the best stories are the people who are going through what's going on. And even for the therapists that I interviewed, I love hearing about how people grew up, how they were raised. I like hearing about the beef. I like hearing about who fucked up. I'm big on that. Yeah, I love hearing about like where the struggle is and what someone's working on, and then like 9 months later they either struggling more so we can pick them back up, or they're doing a great job. So now like, look at you go. Like, I like watching wins up close.
True.
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot to talk about because I was literally talking to Curry the other day. I was like, hey, what do you think about this idea? Because he's an architect. So, social architect, urban architecture. But we've been having these conversations about how existing in like white spaces as Black people is like problematic nowadays because of the way education is set up. Because we're not taught to be ourselves.
Yeah.
Especially in higher education right now. It's like we're like 30 years behind. And it's like, yeah, we're taught to like blend in, be the best Black person, like be the best person in the space because like
You're not like come on.
But no, yeah, we're talking about this because we're like, oh, these are we're still teaching the same shit. Like, why are we not changing the way we're teaching these kids? So keeping that in mind, I was like, hey, like I kind of want to do like a study. I thought about what I'm going to go back to school for, what I'm going to be focusing on. And he's like, yeah, why don't you do a PhD? Because I was like, I want to study the importance of, here, look, I wrote it down.
You mind if I say something?
I can better say it. Yeah, what's up?
So what I've come to understand is that a lot of what we're doing, people don't understand why we're doing it or the space that it's supposed to be creating, right? And people aren't allowed to tell us no when we decide to do stuff.
Oh yeah, fuck no.
They can't tell
Let's
us
just tell
Yeah, nah.
Don't tell me no.
And the reason they don't get to tell us no is because we understand these spaces need to happen whether the room understands how it's going to benefit them or not. And we continue to lay the bricks and the foundation for this. Like I have a lot of other therapists and wellness folks who I think are doing an amazing job, but no one is facilitating the way that I am. Outside of my friend Kat that runs Black Man Cry 2 in New York, no one's facilitating the things that I'm doing. So now I'm like, all right, just make it better, get more lights, build a room, make it pretty, build more people into the room, and then get the subject matter together. And what I plan on doing is like, if possible, I want to create a space to like do panels where it's just four of us discussing things and talking about stuff that's going on presently and like things in the news and like
a public
that being a convo.
That's up my alley.
Yeah.
I've literally been concepting that since COVID started because of all that stuff that was outing like all these problematic people in the community. It's necessary.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my concept was to explore the intersection of mental health, stability, and the presence of art programs in high schools in majority Black areas. Because like there's been a trend of canceling art programs and music programs.
It's a disgusting trend.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
But the point of it is to emphasize the importance of having resources and safe spaces to freely express regardless of socioeconomic standing.
I think that's super necessary.
Yeah.
Also, ironically, I'm going to be interviewing What kind of therapist? An art therapist a therapist that does art therapy
Nice.
in the future. So our plan is to do a session.
I'd love to connect with them as well because I'm into it.
Just let me know. The goal is, give me a second.
You're good.
Writing the memory card was not complete. Correctly recovered data. Cool. Execute. This may damage data that was added or edited on another device. Bitch, am I supposed to recover you or not? What are we talking about right now? We just had this lovely combo. Don't fuck up the vibe.
Got on this one for sure.
Yeah. I got on that one, but I want the people to have like the breakdown of like you, like you was lavish, you was killing it, skin was popping, all this other shit. I take this shit seriously.
I hear you.
Niggas is gonna get you today. Let me walk you to the door as I figure this issue out. This is the second time this camera done did this. I'm gonna have to get a new camera.